Yep.
All right, guys. Team call Monday, May 25th. I'm just going to mute you now, Cheryl, okay?
Yeah.
Um, welcome to Team Call. Tonight, I thought we would talk about the power of the pivot. And the reason that I thought of this is obviously because of 10 rounds. There's pivots, right? And I was thinking about how in this business and in being a business owner, we have to pivot constantly. And we have to constantly think about what's working, what's not working. How can we improve? How can we better ourselves? How can we better our business? How can we be more effective? How can we be better leaders? How can we help our challengers? It's constant thinking and growing and learning. So I thought how perfect to talk about pivoting and in the different ways that we can pivot to make ourselves better. So a quote that I love is, and I had to find this in my email. I saved this a long time ago. I don't know if you guys are like this, but I save things as drafts in my email. So I have like hundreds of drafts that I've just saved things that I like want to go back to at some point, which is probably not the best way to be organized, but I did find it. Entrepreneurship is the greatest ongoing personal growth journey. It's like being in a house of mirrors, and your business is a constant self-evaluation. So I found this by the pool today, and Tucker was like, well, that's petrifying. And I was like, he's like, you shouldn't say that. And I was like, well, it's totally true. You know, like it or not, if you're growing a business, you have to constantly be evaluating yourself. That's how I know that I've made so many improvements in my various roles as a mom, as a wife, as a leader, because I'm constantly trying to be better. And you know, that doesn't mean critiquing yourself, but in a way it is, because you have to look inward. If you're the kind of person that's looking outward, you're not going to find the answers that you're looking for, because we have the power to change our environment, our outcomes, our situations from what we're doing inward. And it's funny, I was thinking about my next webinar today, and I was thinking about actually titling it, How I Changed My Health and the Future of My Family. And that I wanted to talk about in that, does it sound egotistical that I changed it? Of course it does. But here's the thing, I can't take credit for the changes that Tucker's made or the things that my kids are doing, but I control myself. And that's what we do as business leaders. Am I freezing on you guys? Because I'm freezing on myself. Okay, good. So, number one, mindset. Mindset is everything. So, what I do is, you know, if I'm struggling, like I've told you guys before, but I'll tell you again. So, I had a really good month in November and December, and January came. And that's when I decided to level up, become part of Josh Coates' group. And I was surrounded by absolute ballers who were producing, recruiting, growing, and going after these huge goals. And I instantly went back into myself and said, I'm not worthy. I do not know why I'm even trying to be around these people. I'm not at this level. Why do I belong here? And then on the other side, it was like, well, here's January. January is when everyone wants to change their life. So I'm going to have a great month. Guess what? My January was absolute crap. I hit Success Club because I will not take anything less, but it was crap. Same thing with February. And so what did I have to do? I had to pivot. I had to say, what am I doing? What am I doing right now? What am I telling myself? What personal development am I doing? What am I doing to tell myself that I can succeed? And I really had to dig deep. I had to dig really deep. And I had to, every time that I said to myself, I am not worthy of being around these people, I had to really do work on that and say to myself, A, I applied to be in this position that I'm in, so I have to be worthy on some respect. Two, you know, I have to step up. If I want to be on these leaderboards with these leaders, if I want to roll with these leaders, I cannot tell myself that I'm not worthy. I cannot tell myself that I can't succeed. So your PD has to match you where you're at. If everybody is reading fear is my homeboy and it's not speaking to you, or maybe you're not feeling very fearful right now, you got to go to something else. You have to find something that's going to work for you. I did a ton, and I talked to Cheryl about this. She's like my financial accountability buddy. I struggle with money mindset. So what does that mean? If I'm telling myself that I'm not worthy of success financially, I'm not going to make money. Money is not going to come into my bank account. It's not going to come into my mailbox. It's going to be a mindset of scarcity. And if I don't have it, I'm not going to be able to have it. And guess what? People are not going to give it to me. So I knew that I had to dig really deep into my money mindset. You Are a Badass at Making Money. That's a fantastic book if you're struggling with money. My point is this: figure out where you're struggling. Are you struggling with anxiety? Are you struggling with reaching out to people and not feeling worthy? Are you struggling with finances? There, if you go into our team page, there is a whole list of personal development books that you can match to what you're struggling with. And those books will help you to get you where you need to be, but you've got to go to those pain points. It has to hurt. It has to hurt, and it has to be hard. That will help you grow. So what pivot do you have to make in terms of your mindset? Every single day, what are you doing to write your goals down? What are your goals? What are your affirmations? I can help you guys write these that are specific to you. I am very specific. I write the same 3 affirmations every single day. Every single day, my gratitude list. Every single day, my goals. I know what I want to do every day, every single month. So what do you have to do to pivot that? If you're reading and listening to personal development that is based upon business and entrepreneurship, these are the things that people are saying. That's what, you know, when I was like digging into the personal development stuff at first, you hear the same things over and over and over again. If you know, Hal Elrod and freaking Darren Hardy and Rachel Hollis are all doing these things and they're all killing it professionally, you need to be doing it too. So you have to figure out where you are lacking and do it. These things take such a small part of my day and they set me up to crush every day. Yeah, what's going on in your life, figure out that struggle that you're on and pair your personal development to that. But just make sure it's speaking to you, because I feel like so many people are like, oh, well, this is what I'm reading, but they don't like say it enthusiastically. When I'm feeling a book, I like want to shout about it. Like I walk down the street and I'm like, oh my God, yes. Like Brene Brown, like there's so many. So just make sure it speaks to you. Okay, number 2, social media. So if you are having posts that are not engaging with people, if you feel like people are not commenting, not liking, it's really important to do an audit, figure out what it is that you could be doing differently. This is another pivot. You know, I think one of the silly things that I think sometimes we do is like, oh, well, I'm not having an engaging post or nobody's responding to this, but I'm just going to keep doing the same thing. This is where a pivot is necessary. So what's working for you? Every single Thursday is the day that I change. Thursdays are day 1 Beachbody. So that's when my tracker gets changed over. That's when I take a picture of my tracker so I can send it to Kevin Shaw when he does our post. And it's when I post it in our team page for accountability. And every single Thursday, I do a social media audit and I look through my Instagram and the insights. This again takes me 5 minutes. I look at my insights. What was my biggest post of that week? What was the most engaging post? What was the most engaging story? And when was that? Was it the weekend? Was it at night? Was it, you know, when I was singing or, you know, no, that wouldn't be the top one. That would be the lowest. But same thing with Facebook. What's the most engaging post? Was it an original post or was it one of those that grab your attention like Amanda's thing yesterday? Like what would be your ideal vacation? So pay attention to these things. I know for me, when I go live on my Facebook like page, that's usually my most engaging. I could be talking about like my dirty laundry and that's the most engaging. So are you going live? Are you going live at least once a week? You have to make sure you're going live at least once a week on your Facebook and Instagram. You know, are you following your tracker? How is your growth? If you're adding to your network, how much are you adding during the week? Like, that's really informative to me. I have started again with my Instagram ads. So I have a post that is attracting people every single day, that those are the people that I add to my Instagram. However, knowing that those people are being added are not necessarily giving me followers. So that's a decision I have to make. Is this ad really working for me? If it's not giving me followers in the long run, is it really worth the 3 cents for the like? That type of thing. You have to really pay attention to it. And if it's something's not working, you have to be able to pivot. So when it comes to social media, are you training your audience to respond to you? Are you asking questions that engage them? Are you providing value to them? You know, pay attention to those things. So number 3, which really goes along with social media, is your posting. And, you know, again, I don't know why I added this as a second one, because it really goes together. But again, are you training your audience to comment? So really asking for their feedback, asking them questions that are beyond, you know, what are you doing for your workout? Really ask things, because people always want to share their opinion. They love to share their opinion. I've got people that respond to my posts to tell me about it, and then they private message me. Sometimes they text me too, and I'm like, yo, I don't really need to know all this. But people love to share their opinion, especially if it's about things that, I don't know, like, what would you do about this? Or what do you think about this? They love, look at all the people that talk about political stuff. You know, people love to share their opinions. So ask them, because then you can start genuine conversations with them. Are you posting a variety of subjects? Are you posting about your workouts, the community, how you felt, your transformation? Make sure you're touching all of these subjects. Make sure, you know, I think it was something I heard the other day, but when you look at your Instagram feed, your first 12 pictures that you see in that grid should really encompass what you're all about. So take a look at those things. You know, I know some people, when you look at their feed, they have a very diligent way of doing it. It could be like family quote or individual, like they're very, very intentional with it. So make sure you're touching what you want people to know about you. And obviously make sure it flows. Like if you're not using filters and you're not using Lightroom, start to use it, because Instagram really cares about how your feed looks. Facebook doesn't care as much, but Instagram does. And people want to see like a consistent thing. But again, coming back to the pivoting, be willing to pivot, be willing to make adjustments, and be willing to say, okay, if this isn't working, I'm going to try something else. You know, yeah, I'm going to go to the next one. So invites. This is something that I change all the time. Sometimes I feel like certain invites just don't get me very far. Or sometimes certain invites seem to elicit a really good response. Be willing to change it up. Be willing to talk to people differently. Be willing to engage with them differently. If something's not working, you have to look at what is going on and adjust. So there's some days, you know, I sit down to invite or do a power hour, and it's really like, especially at the beginning of all of this pandemic stuff, it was touching base with people. It was reaching out and saying, I'm here if you need someone. How are you doing? How are you handling this? What is going on? What's working for you? And sometimes that looks really different. Maybe I have a group coming up and I want to really invite to that, and that's where it's appropriate. So go with what you feel, go with what works, go with what people respond to. And I know for me, like, as I said, that's changed so many times. I remember one time, I've kind of always been like, all right, I'll try that. Sounds good. I'll try that. And one National Wake Up Call, this was probably a good 3 years ago, she talked about how she, instead of messaging people, she would give like a daily tip of the day. Or I'm sorry, not instead of messaging, but instead of like the typical, hey, how are you? Or the invite, she would give a daily tip of the day. And I was like, that's such a good idea. I'm going to try that. So I tried it for like maybe a week. Like, I think I got one response. Like, no one answered me. No one liked it. Nobody gave two shits what I was offering. And So what did I do? I didn't like go crawl in a corner. I just said, I'm not doing this. This doesn't work for me. That's the beauty about national wake-up calls and hearing from other coaches. What works for someone is not going to work for someone else. What works for you may not work for someone else. That's why you have to pivot, adjust, and figure out what does work for you. So here's another thing. When you're inviting, are you inviting to coaching at least a significant amount during the week? Are you inviting to a challenge group? Are you inviting to a free group? Change it up. I built my business on doing a free group every month. That's how I built my business. I would start out, and I don't do that a lot anymore now. Honestly, I don't even do a lot of challenge group invites. I really invite to coaching because that's where I feel like the change happens. But that's for me. That may not be for you. But how I built my business in the beginning was always running a free group. I always started my month with a free group. I asked my audience what worked for that or what they wanted: abs, arms, booty, hydrate, crock pot, healthy recipes. That was how I engaged with people. People really dug into that. And then from that free group, I would have, that many people to invite to a challenge group. Hey, did you like this, group? Would you like to continue with me? So really try different things like that. I mean, I think the more that you can pivot and figure out what works, figure out what your audience likes, figure out how you can provide value, is going to help you in the long run. Number 5, have you started a bod group? Have you, what is that? I can't read my own handwriting. Have you planned a free group? Yeah. So have you started a bod group? Have you planned a free group? Have you planned a coach sneak peek? We do have a coach sneak peek coming up within the retreat push group that Amber, did you ever get the link for that? Did they share that? No, not yet. Okay. Well, I can share that when we have it. I'm not really sure who's running it, but it's a great place to add, people to, if you have people that are interested in hearing about the coaching opportunity. I can't read my handwriting. Are you showing up? Something? Are you showing up for something? I don't know. Are you showing up? No, but like think about these things. And, in the beginning, guys, this was me. I did sneak peeks all by myself. I did them all the time. I did free groups all the time. And it was fantastic when I had people to do them with, but don't let not having somebody with you stop you. Like, this has to be, you have to show up. Oh, that's what I probably wrote. Are you showing up like a CEO? Because you are running this business. It doesn't matter who's next to you, who's in front of you, who's in back of you. You've got to show up and know, and that didn't stop me. I was terrified to run sneak peeks. I was terrified to go live on Facebook, but I did them because I knew that was where I was going to grow. It was where I was going to get comfortable, and it was how I was going to bring people in. And I remember Heather Campbell's not on here, but I'll never forget, she was one of the girls who came to one of my first coach sneak peeks all by myself. I had no idea what I was talking about. I had no clue how to talk about the compensation plan. I just did it. So don't be afraid to run your business your way. I mean, the beauty of this is that when you have a team, when you have people with you, it's super fun. But you also can't get stuck in being with other people all the time, because this is your dreams are up to you. So I don't care like what's going on around me. I am going forward with the best ways that I know how. And I'm here to help everyone. Yeah. Can you help? Can you explain more about free groups and sneak peeks? Yes. So the beauty of bod groups is, so if you're a coach, you absolutely have to have a group on bod groups. There's no doubt about that. Now, if you're assigned a customer, they're going to look to see if you have a group on bod groups, and you need to have one. So bod groups can be used for paid challengers. They can be used for free challengers. It's an awesome way to get people's emails. So I would suggest, even though I'm not a huge fan of bod groups yet, you need to have one. A, if you have customers, but 2, it's a great way for emails. So if I was to do a free group again, I would do it on bod groups. I would throw it out to all social media. Hey, I'm running this 5-day group on abs. You know, who's interested? Now, people love free groups. They love free. So they're going to say, hey, me, 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 me. You get all the emails, you plug them into BOD groups. That means they're on your email list, which is then you can send them emails. And then you just do content for 5 days. You set it up beforehand. You set up the schedule, the posts, super easy. People engage with it. It's quick. And then during that, you know, during those free groups, you message them that I would message them that Monday. Hey, are you in? Did you get into the group? Or you just wanted to make sure you're ready to start? Then like that Wednesday, how are you liking the group? That Friday, hey, if you love this group, I'm starting a group on Monday. If you want to join me for 10 rounds, you know, we're starting Monday. Same kind of format as this group, but more intense accountability. And, you know, you get workouts and whatever else you're throwing in there. So that's how I would run a free group, but you can do them on anything. Like when I did them all the time, I would just throw it out there to my challengers, like to vote on a poll. So they felt like they had some say in what was to come, and people really seemed to enjoy that. Coach Sneak Peeks can be done a multitude of ways. We've done them so many different ways. We've done 1 day that people sort of go live. We've done 3-day groups. We've done 5-day groups. I think 5 days is way too long. Even 3 days is a little much. We've done webinars where people are, you know, kind of on that way. You saw the one, Tennille, the one that we did, that I did with those Push Elite girls with Allie and Liz. You saw that one. That's like the webinar style. That's how Josh trains us now to do them, because he feels like you really kind of get people when you hype them up, and then it goes, they get all excited, they're into it, they're really all about it, and you get them right then, which is how he does his webinars. So he teaches us that. He's like, it's much more of an emotional sale versus like dealing with people in your inbox. So that's really where the webinars come from. And I definitely see that. Like I see the excitement of that. So you can do Coach Sneak Peeks however you want. You know, it's really just up to you. And I would suggest trying all the things. I still don't know. I don't know what the best invite is. I don't know what the best Coach Sneak Peek is. I just try shit and hope that it works. Sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes people are in the group, sometimes they're not. You just kind of have to go with it, you know? And you just try all the things. That's why I wanted to call this Power of Pivot. You just have to adjust. You have to adapt, and you have to say, okay, I'm at a wall. This isn't working. Let me try something else. And you just have to keep doing. Did that answer your question? Yeah? Okay. Yeah. Are you pivoting? Are you changing what isn't working? Continuing what is working? Being really intentional. So setting up your month, and which makes me think I'm going to set up the calendar for this June, but what is your month going to look like? Do you want to try a free group for the first month of June? Are you trying to really get people now to take advantage of the summer sale and start them off in a challenge group June 1st? You know, you got to figure out what works for your business and what is going to bring you, you know, there's a lot to be said for, you know, getting people in at a certain time and really pushing to fill that group. And that's another reason to have a group on BOD groups. If you have a paid group starting June 1st, you're going to hustle to get people in there. It just makes sense. I always tell the story, like when I started coaching, I didn't even really want to be a coach, but for some reason my coach, she was really smart about it. I was in her challenge group with like maybe 2 of my challengers for maybe a month, 2 months. And then the next month was coming up and I was like, all right, like what's happening next month? And she was like, oh no, you're going on your own. And I was like, oh no. But you know what? As scary as that was, I was like, I have to fill this group. I have to get this group to have as much energy as her group had. What am I going to do? I have to invite my ass off now. So that's exactly what I did. And my group for years wasn't even anything like hers, but she knew that I needed to be pushed out of the nest in order to fly. Like if I had stayed in her group, I wouldn't have invited more people. I was fine in her group. I was fine in her group with two of my challengers just continuing. I had basically no responsibility. I didn't have to schedule posts. I didn't have to post because we all took turns. There were like 7 of us coaches. So we were responsible for one time a week. Like, that's mind-boggling to me. Laura and I have to like diligently set up our posts every single week. We have to schedule everything that we're doing. So I don't know where I was going with this, but start a freaking challenge group and step up your game as a coach. Show up as a CEO, show up to your business. This is up to you to succeed. Okay, and then the last point is Success Club. This is something, again, I've had to do for years before this, but especially in January and February. Why were my numbers not where I wanted them to be? Now, you can, like, and this is something that Josh talks about a lot with us, you can be doing all of the things. You can be filling out your tracker diligently. You can be inviting diligently. You can be doing all those things, and you still may not get the results that you deserve or that you feel like you should be getting. As long as I'm doing what I need to do for my own end, I can put my head down and sleep well at night. But part of that is the mindset. So that's when I had to dig in and say to myself, why am I not succeeding? A whole bunch of that money mindset stuff that I was talking about was killing me at the time. 2, I was stuck in that comparison game with those other girls in the Push Elite group. And if you're comparing yourself to other people, if you're stuck on those ring the bell posts saying, why am I not up there? If you're, struggling with why you're not good enough, why you're not getting there, you're not going to get there. You have to put your head down. You have to dig into your personal development. You have to work that shit out. Reach out to your coach. Reach out to your upline. Reach out to the successful people. Be around them, because those are the people who know that you can do it. Those are the people that are doing it. And those are the people that being around them will help get you where you want to be. That's what's helped me 100 times out of 100. I am in that Push Elite group. Those posts, their leaderboards, I'm like, I need to be on them. And how am I going to get there? Those people don't have shitty mindsets. They are absolute ballers. They are confident. They're confident not just in themselves, but in all of us. And I know I feel that way about all of you. I see what you're capable of. I see what you can do because I've seen you do it. So be around those people and don't get stuck in your own way, because you are the only person who can move past that. You guys have any questions? I'm hot. All right. Well, I hope that was helpful. No more questions? I'm going to end the recording.